Have you had experience? Like, Cody, I'm talking to. Have you had like experiences with any games where you agree to disagree, says Wesley. Well, do you have an example then, Wesley? Of a game where it's not just like you and... I mean, okay, there's like 30-man raids. There's 1 or 2 in production, but they fail. Final Fantasy XI is 95% group content. Even the leveling takes 6 people. But what's like the biggest cooperative thing that can happen in Final Fantasy XI? Even leveling takes 6 people. That's so funny. RuneScape has world events often where almost everyone in the servers does the event. Okay. Alright. There you go. Story missions, raids, open world bosses, leveling, says Cody. I mean, you say you can't do any of it solo, Cody, but what is like what is the usual party size? Six. Where you can now on official servers after 10 years they added fake NPCs. 18 for huge. See, exactly it. I mean, sure you can't solo, but then it's like 18. It's not like thousands. Is what I'm trying to say. It does have a couple of modes that takes 200 plus ballista. Yeah, there you go. I feel like that space... Oh, besieged. I feel like that space is not thoroughly explored, is what I'm trying to say. I think there's like potential for innovation. There would be some massive server loads, as Cody. Don't think it's possible with current tech. But that's why I say board games. Board games would be much more simplistic than say a typical 3D world. Right? See, this is why I say massively multiplayer board games, because the tech is much simpler, and therefore you can have more people. So like, have things that are mechanically much simpler. Basically like simple party games. If it's 2,000 people at once, it's still the same amount of action being taken every millisecond, I'm not sure. No, but there isn't a lot of actions every... Like, it's not real-time gaming. It's turn-based board gaming, right? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I think it's possible, Goldie. Anyway, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oops. Is this right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright. Battle Royale is still 100 people. happens here? I guess we cross the river. Cody says maybe if it was like a huge co-op PvE dungeon, Lord of the Rings card games coming out soon is like that, just individual. A lot of games have this kind of like a hero fantasy, where you're the hero, you're like the one guy who makes everything happens. I guess in my mind, I'm imagining the opposite. Instead of players being like the heroes who make things happen, you're basically just a pawn. Just one pawn on a big field. It have to be a board game without too much RNG is a board game of that scale. Why not? Why do you think it can't be RNG? Like, what if it's... I mean, if it is just kind of dice-based, it's basically cooperative gambling if it's dice-based. Cody says if 2,000 people were playing the same game all at once, doing the same thing as much RNG as a card game can have. I can't see someone balancing that properly at an age where we can't even do it for one. But it's not balanced. It's not. It's. I mean, I was talking about Monopoly. Monopoly is not. Monopoly is dice based. It's balanced, but mostly it's just the dice, because if everybody plays, like, the strategy is not that complicated in Monopoly, and if everybody follows the same strategy, then it's just the dice that makes a difference. I don't know how to do the rest of this. Diagonal. Okay, so I can get down to here, and then what? I was talking about like Pictionary before, Cody. Pictionary, except that, you know, there's 1,000 people and you get 1 pixel each, and you have to cooperatively draw a picture that someone else can guess. Like, very, very simple mechanics. Speaking from experience of game modes with 200 plus people, if you give too much freedom in customization and if everyone work together, always end in failure for the most part. Well, I'm not sure if those games were designed for... Okay, then why are we so slow? And also, just because they fail doesn't mean it can't be fun. Like, 2,000 people can fail spectacularly at a task, and it can still be hilarious. Diagonal here, I believe. Alright, chopping this. True, but generally people only find it hilarious during hijinks on a path to victory. If it's just pure losing and no chance of victory. No, it wouldn't be a new chance, Cody. Of course it's not a new chance. I think maybe the point I'm not getting across is that the point of these games is not you playing the game. The point of these games is you trying to work together with other people. Like the games themselves are very simplistic, and the point is you having to, like, you being restricted in how much you can do yourself, and you have to work with other people to get anything done. Yeah, no, exactly, Cody. It's just it's very, like, you're very limited in what you can do. Maybe maybe people just aren't familiar with what's it like to be in a part of a mob of people. Because when you're in a mob, no, but they can't, because if everybody's actions are limited. See, that's the thing. When you're in such a big mob, the 5% gets drowned out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I mean, I was saying earlier that a lot of games are designed, yeah, it does depend on the game. A lot of games are designed so that the individual player has the power to win, right? And it's because the individual player has that much power to affect the game that the 5% can troll and ruin the game for other people. But if you really just can't do anything on your own, you have to rely on the majority of other people to do anything, then the trolls will also have to rely on other people to troll. If it's designed like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. In your opinion, if this game was so basic, a lot of people, talented people wouldn't personally see the pure point of it. But it's basically gambling. Like, why do people play Monopoly? Because they want to, because they like the feeling of winning. Diagonal through here. How far do I diagonal through here? Maybe to, like, here, I guess? But fighting games is only ever 1 versus 1, Cody. You've picked the exact opposite of the genre. You don't play against randoms because you feel nothing from winning against a shadow entity. Okay, but a lot of people do. You only enjoy playing with friends. But a lot of people play with randoms. Well, not a lot, but, you know, there are other players who will play with randoms. It will be a different thing. You're right, Cody. It will be a different thing. Like a 1,000-person Monopoly game would be like someone playing the stock market. Like, it's like you're playing a market. And there wouldn't, as you say, there wouldn't be very much person-to-person interaction on an individual level. I don't think we can have it continue. I think it will have to be match-based. If it's continual, it will just become increasingly unfair, because people who have the early advantage will just snowball the advantage. I mean, I guess it can also scale. You can, like, if it's as simple as Monopoly, you can also design the board to scale to however many people are playing, right? Like if it's 10 people, it'll be like double the normal Monopoly board. If it's 100 people, it'll be 20 times the normal Monopoly board, for example. And you just scale up the size of the board for more people. So I think I want to ramp down. Oh, there's another cliff over here. I don't know what's going on. Should probably ramp down a little bit at least. Ramp down to this level. But that wouldn't work with match-based still, probably, unless it can be capped out really quick with the scaling, so there could be multiple 2,000 people match. I don't know, full to 2K. No, I don't. I think you're assuming. You're making assumptions for the purpose of finding ways for it not to work, Cody. I mean, we know Monopoly works for 4 people, right? So if it scales dynamically, at most, or at the very least, you can start a game with 4 people, or even 2, when Monopoly works for 2 people. So if we have it a dynamically scaling Monopoly board, where it can scale up to 1,000, or down to 2. Then however many people queue is however big the game is. But you're looking at the extremes. And you're ignoring all the stuff in the middle. I mean, if it's a 100-person Monopoly game, it's still a battle royale. Right? If it's a 50-person game, it's still massively multiplayer by our standards. No, but you don't. But because it's a board game with very simple rules, Cody, you don't. It's much easier to balance the game. It's not like the game is so simple that it's much easier to balance. Like the typical MMO has what, hundreds of stats and thousands of items, and that's why it's difficult to balance. And like what, dozens of classes. Yeah, there is a metaphor for government in there somewhere, and that's the point. So I think I want to ramp down from here. Let's say 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.